speaking from experience, I've tried Inza, I've tried Titan, I've tried Metal. The ones that I recommend definitely to start off in terms of the context of Strongman is definitely Metal, and I would specifically try and get your hand on a Metal King Pro if you haven't got much experience of lifting in a suit before. So the thing with adjustable straps is it's going to give you that benefit of being able to crank up the tightness as you need it, as you get more confident, and it's going to give you a little bit more leeway in terms of learning how to, I suppose, get tighter as you go along. Whereas if you get one with fixed straps, you're just not buying yourself a margin for error, to learn, and because I feel like if you learn, as you learn, you get more confident and more comfortable. Well, you get more comfortable being tight and uncomfortable, more comfortable being uncomfortable, but also you get more skilled at achieving a decent start position despite feeling uncomfortable. So it is a very important thing. And obviously with the adjustable straps, you can scale it up as you go along in terms of how tight you go, basically. So the great thing about the Metal ones, so if you go to the Metal website, you'll be able to see here if you go to the Metal website and have a browse through there, just search for gometal.fi, translate it into whatever language you are, English, and then I just search for deadlift in here, and this is what you can get. So you can get Jack Sumo, Jack Deadlift, King Pro. So speaking in the context of Strongman, I would definitely recommend single ply versus multi-ply. So in terms of the metal, the single ply is the Metal King Pro, which is a little bit cheaper, and the multi-ply is the Jack. So going back to the principle that I've said about being comfortable, being uncomfortable, as an entry level suit, the King Pro is going to be fantastic, because how I would describe it would be, for somebody who hasn't worn a suit before, imagine you're wearing a singlet that's made out of the same material as your jeans, and the King Pro is almost like the single ply is almost like a pair of jeans with a little bit of flex in them that feel like as you bend down, they don't feel like they're going to kind of snap. They're just giving you a bit of tension as you go down or whatever. Whereas the multi-ply feels like just really, really stiff and really, really uncomfortable, and almost like less springy and less elastic, and almost like you're having to push against it more and more rigid. But a lot of people will report that they'll be able to lift slightly heavier with the multi-ply. So as you get more advanced, it is definitely an option worth looking into. So some people say that with multi-ply that it's more suited for getting that extra couple of percent on a max, but a lot of people find it uncomfortable to rep in, whereas you might find that having the single ply and you're doing a deadlift for reps in the suit, you may find that the single ply is more comfortable. The Metal Jack, the Metal King Pro is more comfortable to keep on for working for a set of 60 seconds, for example. Another thing to consider, if you're doing like a deadlift medley, for instance, you're going to really struggle if you've got a relatively tight multi-ply suit. You're going to be really slow at getting down to the bar. So I find that multi works really well if you're going for say a really heavy single, and you've got your straps. You can almost use the straps to assist you pulling yourself down to the bar. Whereas the King Pro, you're going to be and the single ply, you're going to be a lot quicker getting down into position. So in terms of what sizes to go for, I would recommend it going going a little bit too big rather than risking a little bit too tight. So I would, the measurements that you go off the website, I haven't seen anybody that go for the measurements on the website and they get a custom fit and they've had a good experience with it. So let me know in the comments if you've had a good experience with this, because it'll be news to me. What I find that if people will often measure themselves up on the website, realize that the measurements are slightly odd, think that they need a custom fit, then deliberate and then potentially buy a custom fit one. And the problem with the getting one custom made for somewhere like metal is, I think they are assuming that you already know what you're doing, and you say like an equipped powerlifter where a third of their sport is based around like pulling in a suit basically, whereas so obviously they're assuming that you're further down the progression pathway of skill level. So you'll find that, say, powerlifters over time maybe get a tighter suit and get better at getting into a smaller suit, etc. Whereas for us competing in strongman, with it being such a small proportion of the things that we need to train, and therefore just your time spent practicing it and the time you can allocate to practicing it, I think you have most people have more success buying themselves a bigger margin for error and almost risking. You're almost better, in my opinion, risking not getting much out of it, but being able to get down and get a feel for it and get into position. Because there are methods what you can do to enhance the tightness, i.e. crank up the straps, i.e. wearing, say, like padding it out with like neoprene shorts, wear a couple of pairs of neoprene shorts. You can wear joggers that can just make it go tighter. You can wear underbelts, you can wear hoodies that just make you increase that tension and make everything a little bit tighter. Whereas if it's too tight to get on, or if you manage to get it on, but then you like, so I see so many people spending a lot of money getting the suit on, they're so excited, and then they can't even get down to the bar, and then they think that it's deadlift suit isn't for me kind of thing. You hear it all the time, people trying suits, whereas realistically it's just that the sizing is just too tight for you to learn in. And even if it's a little bit too tight and you can get down to position, like so many people, I've seen it so many times where people get down to position and they just don't feel that it's just so uncomfortable for the amount of benefit that they're getting out of it. So I would say, if you can, err on the side of caution, go a little bit bigger with a view to being able to crank up the tightness using the methods that I've suggested, if possible, because obviously I know that it's a big investment and they're expensive. Borrow one, go and try somebody's on who lifts. Like if you're an under eight, if you're a weight class strongman and you want to come to my gym and try some of my suits, like I've got suits that will fit people ranging from, say, 70 kilos up to maybe 110, 115, 120. So feel free to come. Let me know in the comments if you want to come and try. So rough sizing off the top of my head, I'd say under 80s. So men, say 46 to 48 usually, roughly, in terms of the Metal King Pro sizes and the Metal Jack. Under 90s, 48 to 50. To 52 maybe, and then 105s maybe 50 to 56. They go up in two, so 52, 54, 56, etc. So personally, I've done I think the tightest one I've used is a 46 Metal Jack, and I've pulled maybe 310 or something in that. Feels really tight, really stiff. But probably one of the best pulls I've ever done was actually an under 90s comp wearing a size 50 Metal King Pro. The size 50, a lot of people would say that for an under 90, it's too loose. You should be wearing a 48 or trying to get into a 46. But it just felt so good, felt really comfortable. Could get it on myself, and that was when I pulled my first 300 in competition. Was with a size 50, weighing in at 89.6 or whatever. Felt really good. My raw was probably about 270 at the time, so getting about 10% out of it. So that was bang on perfect. So you see people really struggling to get themselves into position and stuff, and it's not necessarily giving you that much of a benefit. I would say, as a general rule, if you can aim for 10%, then that's absolutely brilliant. If you're getting much more than 10%, I would say probably go and build your raw up. If you're getting less than 10%, then practice. And if you're doing loads of practice and you're still getting less than 10% more than you raw, just message me and I'll help you out. So where to buy? So I've covered that. GoMetal.fi for the metal ones. Europe versus USA. So you see a lot of the European lifters are using metal. I would definitely recommend getting one secondhand if you can. So looking at websites such as Facebook groups such as Powerlifting Kit for Sale, and I would say the going rate would be between 100 and say 120 pounds secondhand. You'll very often find that when you buy secondhand, they're very often pretty much brand new, because they'll very often be from people who've bought one, realize it doesn't fit, thrown it in the corner for however long, and then they've put it up for sale. So you can get some bargains for secondhand. So that have a look at that as a going rate. If you're in the US, have a look at the Titan website, the INSA website. I'm unsure about the sizings, but I would say take a similar principle of what I've said about where the metal ones. I would say start off with a single ply that is with adjustable straps, and especially if you're a weight class athlete who's cutting weight and your training weight may be slightly different to your competition weight, etc. See it all the time where people pull in a suit and they go and underperform at competitions because the sizing slightly out to what they've been training in, etc. So yeah, some good recommendations.